back to Same Right Fashion Academy YouTube channel for another interesting tutorial. So in today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to make this strip. Okay, so as you are seeing right there on the thumbnail, we have a strip on a lace fabric like this. So you can see how this strip is laying nice and flat on this dress. This is the front dress, as you can see. So if this is what you want to learn, please stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. So today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to make this beautiful lace shift gown. So we'll start off this tutorial by drafting this gown. So as usual, we'll be making our border lines to start off our drafting. So I'm going to draft both back and front, okay, together, as we usually do. So what I'm creating here is my border line for back and front dress. So we'll be cutting the back first, then before you cut the front. So now I'm going to make my natural neckline. Okay, so the natural neckline we'll be working with right here. I'm going to make it small scaled for back and small scaled for front, just to demonstrate to you. So what I'm drafting right here is the back neckline. Okay, so you can see the back neckline is usually higher, and from the center front, this is my center front and my center back together. So from there, I'm going to make my shoulder line. I'll drop my shoulder by 1 inch for the shift dress, and then from that point, I'm going to mark out I'm marking out my vertical lines. Okay, so the lines we need here is our chest line, we need waistline, hip line. So this is my waistline and this is my hip line, and I'll use this as the full length of this dress. So the most important thing is to show you how to make this front strip. You are seeing right there on the thumbnail. So I have my chest. So if you are making this dress, you'll be using your chest line, your waistline, you'll be using your hip line, and finally the full length of this dress. So this is my shoulder line of this dress. So I will quickly transfer what I have on the shoulder to the chest to create my armhole. So once that is done, I'm going to create my armhole. So I'll get the midpoint of this for the front and back. Remember, we are concentrating on the back since we are using this line for back and front. So for the back, I'll come in by 0.5, and then I will connect. I'll be taking my bust circumference divide by 4. I'll connect. I'm going to create the armhole. So armhole is created now. We have our back and the waistline. I'm going to divide my waistline by 4 and mark my hip line by 4 and mark. So what I have on the hip line, I'll transfer it down to the hem and mark. So I'll just go ahead and make a straight line from full length to hip and make my waist to hip measurements line, and then I'll make my bust to waist measurement. So you can see the shape of the gown right there and then. So this is the back bodice now, and the back bodice will be cut on fold. That is the back piece. But because we are using this same pattern for the front, I'm going to create the front right here. So if you are cutting, you will need to cut the back first before you go ahead to the front. So right now I'll be adding some ease to this dress, and I wish to add 0.5 inch of ease on the bust. I wish to add 1 inch ease and 1.5 inch ease to the waist, and 2.5 inch on the hem. So if you need the shift a little more wider, you can increase your ease allowance. So from here to here I added 0.5. so to the quarter of the bodice is 0.5 times 4 will be giving us 2 inches on the bust line, and I added 1 inch here, so times 4 on the waistline will give us 4 inches ease, and I added 1.5 here, times 4 will give us 6 inches ease on the hip, and 2.5 here times 4 is going to give us 10 inches on the hem. Okay, so you can actually see we've added enough ease. So now I'll just go ahead and do this, and then I'll go ahead and make a little A on the hem. So that is that, and that is how this dress is going to look like. So coming over to the back pattern now, that is the front pattern. What we just did here is the back piece. So I'll just go ahead and make little alterations to what I have on my back piece. And the alteration I'm making here is I'm going to create the neckline. So the neckline for the back, I'm going to add 1 inch from my natural neckline and recreate my back neckline. Remember what we had here is the natural neckline. So I'm going to recreate what I have on the back neckline. If I recreate that, this is what I have. And here, the same width I use for the back, I'll use for the front. So this is what I have on my chest line. I can decide to come up on my chest at 1 or half an inch, so it depends on you. You can take your bust radius around it. Okay, you can just create your bust point and create the bust radius to see, or you can measure on your cleat the depth of your neckline, so you do not expose your bust. So right there and then I'm going to connect my V neckline. So this is my V neckline for this dress, and this V neckline is going to have a sort of strip running all the way. The strip is going to run all the way at let me say at, you can make it 1 inch, 1 inch all the way. Okay, so I'll be showing you how to go about the cutting and the sewing of this strip, as you can see right there on the thumbnail. So I'll just go ahead and make a demonstration of what the front strip is going to look like. So this is the strip we have, and this strip you can use anything to make it. So I'm just going to cut out this pattern, and we are working on the front piece because of that strip. I'm going to show you how to sew this strip perfectly and how to place your strip on the front dress. So this is my front piece of this shift gown. So you can use a lace to make this, you can use any fabric to make this, but it's for this tutorial I'll be showing you how to make this using a lace fabric. So I'm just cutting right now. So the armhole I made here was for the back. For the front, you need to go in by 0.75. Please don't forget. So for the front armhole, from here I'll go in by 0.75 because the armhole for the front is deeper. So I'll just go in here, and I'm going to connect from here to here, as you can see. So while I'm cutting this right away, I'm going to cut through the red line. So I'm cutting through the red line. So I just go in here as we cut our normal V neckline. So this is where the V neckline is going to be, and I'll be placing this on my fabric right now to demonstrate to you how to cut this. Okay, so I'll use this pattern and place on my fabric. Now I'm done cutting my front lace fabric, and here I have 2 pieces of it. So now you can see I've added my necessary seam allowances. So to the center front area, I added 0.5 to the neckline, 0.5 on the seam line, on the armhole, and 1 inch on the side and on the hem. So like I said, we are demonstrating this strip, how to get this strip. That is the most important part of this tutorial. So I'm going to take off my pattern now, and I'm going to create the strip. Okay, so I have 2 of it, right and left part of this. So I'll set this aside, and this is my strip which we are going to cut out. So because I'm using a small scale drafting to demonstrate this, I'll be cutting this at 1 inch. Remember, I measured 1 inch, but if you are making this on your actual dress, I will advise you to do 1.5. okay, so what we have here from here to here is 1 inch from the shoulder to the hem, as you can see. So if you are drafting on a bigger scale, 1.5 is okay for this. So I'll just go ahead and cut this strip. So you have to make sure you cut accordingly. Okay, so this is what we are going to place and sew on for this particular dress. So this is the strip, and what we have right here on the strip, you can use so many things to do this. You can use Ankara, you can use plain, you can even use the lace salvage. Okay, so for this I decided to use a matching fabric. Okay, so I'm using a matching plain fabric to do this. I think it will give us exactly what we want, unless you have a salvage that can cover, you know, this particular area after adding your seam allowances without destroying the patterns. So but if you don't have, you can use a matching plain fabric, and it's also nice and good. So this is what I have here. I've cut my strip, and I added 0.5 inch this way, 1 inch on the hem, 0.5 inch, 0.5 inch all around to sew it. So I'll take off my pins on the salvage. This is the center front. So I have 2 pieces of it right here. So I'm going to pick up 1 at a time. I'll be using 1 to demonstrate. So this is the front piece of this, and I'm going to lay it directly on top. Okay, so this is how it's going to this is the front piece. So you can see how I placed it. So if I'm going to sew now, this is the right side. I'm going to turn this way. Okay, this is the right side. So make sure you place it right side to right side. Then when sewing, you'll be flipping it this way. Okay, so by the time we are done sewing the 0.5 inch and flipping back, you still have your right side. So I'll just match it up now. I'm matching up, this is how it was. This is exactly how I had it. This is the right side of the lace, and this is the right side of the strip. So to sew this perfectly now, I'm going to do this. Face that right side down, pick up this and pick up this. Okay, and I'm going to secure with my pin right away. So you have to make sure you match up the V neckline points accordingly. And I'll be going to the machine now to sew at 0.5. So I'll be sewing with a contrasting thread, because this is a tutorial and I need you to see the thread lines. Okay, so but when you are sewing on your own pattern, on your own fabric, please ensure you use the same fabric. So I'll just go ahead now and I'll sew down, and I'll bring it back to show you how I did that. You can see I've sewn the 0.5 for the 2 strips, and you can see how they are laying right here. So I'll be using this particular one to show you how to work on this. So this is the neckline, the V neckline point before the center front. I'll just put a notch to it. Okay, so I'm going over to my machine now. I'm going to top stitch, flipping all my seams on the part of the strip, so I'll be able to lay the strip on the right side. So let's go and top stitch right away. I'm going to top stitch right now. So I'll just flip my seams, or I'll flip the seams this way, but I'm going to top stitch on this way. So I'll drop my presser foot. So what I'm doing here is to ensure my strip lays on the other part neatly without coming back. Okay, so make sure the part you notched, you can even reduce the seams at that point. Okay, so I'll just reduce the seams. So make sure you bring out that part. So once I get there, I'll turn my presser foot. I'll continue on the neck line. So this is what I'm going to do for the other piece as well. So now you can see with the top stitching, I have this is the right side, and this is the strip. So the strip now is laying this way. Okay, so make sure you top stitch neatly, because the top stitching, you can see the top stitching line is at the center front line. So if it's not neat, it will be noticeable, and you still need your matching thread, so you have a neat work done. So this is my top stitch, and I'm going to iron it down. So you can see it's laying on the right side. So I'm going to iron it down, and I'll be back to show you how to finish up this other part. Alright, so now I'm done ironing, and you can see what the back piece and the right piece looks like. So I just went ahead with my iron to iron in 0.5. So you can see I have the 0.5 crease line. I did that to the end. So I want you to take note that at this point, which is the neckline, I put a notch at 0.5. So this notch is going to enable me fold in this part and enable me fold in this part accordingly. So now I'll start my sewing right now. So I'm folding in 0.5, and at the end of the day I'll be left with my 1 inch. So what I'm doing here is top stitching. So I'm going to top stitch right away. So I just do that very, very neatly. I'm doing that very, very neatly. So you can see me trying to arrange this before I sew. So I'm top stitching right on top. So I'm making sure I have this relaxing. So before I get to that notch, I'll raise my presser foot and fold in. So it's good you make this crease line with your iron before you move ahead to do this. So I'll just sew to that point and raise my presser foot to continue the sewing of this other part. So I'll just go ahead. So if you have a plain part of this lace, you can also use this same lace fabric, okay, like the one we have on the thumbnail. I think they use that same lace to do that. So I'll keep sewing and folding in my 0.5 crease line I made with my iron till I get to the end of it. So this is what I'm going to do for the other pieces right now, and I'm going to give it a good press, as you can see now, and I'll bring it back to show you how to sew the two together. Alright, so right now this is what I have. I've ironed and given it a good press. So if you look at this part, I put a pin to it. So the pin so on the waistline right now, I've put a pin to show, to make to put the two sides at equal pace. So I'll take off my pin right now, and I'm placing this right on top of this. I need them to be sewn as one, just a little, okay? So I'm going to sew on the top stitching line, just a little on top of this. All right, so I have them sewn together right away. So if you look at this, you'll notice that the two parts, the right and the left side, are together right now. You can see that. So for this other part, I'm going to sew my my hook and eye. Okay, I'll just sew my hook and eye here and here. My hook and eye, my hook and eye. So that's what I'm going to use to hook them together. All right, so right now I'm done with the strip. So I just sew my hook and eye. So you can sew your hook and eye at different points, maybe 1, 2, 3 and 4 to the waistline. So once the dress is worn, you just hook them one after the other like this, as you can see right there on the thumbnail. So you can see the hook and eye. So this is what my hook and eye looks like, as you can see. So this is the hook and this is the eye. So that is what I stitched at this point, as you can see. Okay, so that is how to go about it. So if you wish to decorate it with your appliques, if you look at that point at the center front, it appears we have little appliques that was used to decorate the center front. So you can just do that neatly from here to that point before sewing your hook and eye. So that is how we come to the end of this tutorial, and I believe you learned a lot once more. So if you are new to this channel, please kindly subscribe, turn on your notification bell to receive videos like this every day. Like this video, share to family and friends, drop your comments on the comment section and your suggestions as well. So thank you for coming. See you in the next class. Bye.